Good day everyone, welcome to today's bonus video, and today we have a review on Thach's F2A-1 Buffalo. Now, I've had this thing in my hangar since the 5th of April 2015 when I did my first ever game of War Thunder. And well, she's been through nerfs, she's been through buffs, because we nicknamed this thing the Baby Buff, me, DTT, and Dave Schilling. And she's been through a lot. Let's just say that this plane's been through a lot with me, and it has been sort of a mixed bag for me when I was getting the market distinction done on it. Obviously, I haven't fully finished the market distinction. There's only about 3k left on it, but we know what Gaijin's like with micro patches, so I wanted to get this out of the way as soon as I could. So the Thatcher's F2A-1 Buffalo is a rank 1 battle rate 2.3 naval fighter. It's armed with, well, when I first got it, it was only armed with a single 50 cal and a single 30 cal in the nose, which is still there. You still get the 50 cal and the 30 cal. I believe the left-hand gun is the 50 cal, if I remember rightly. Yes, it is. You get 250 rounds apiece, and then, well, 250 rounds for that gun. You then had 450 in the 7.62. For the old days of battle rate 1.3, that wasn't bad. Combine that with the Buffalo's decent maneuverability, decent energy retention, and decent turn rates, it wasn't too bad. However, quite a few patches later, and when I mean quite a few patches, Gaijin for some reason decided to say F2A-1's had an extra 250 cal machine guns. Now, I've never seen this before. I've never seen an F2A-1 equipped with 350 cal machine guns. If anyone could clarify that, then please do let me know, because I've never been able to find anything about this. I've only found Buffaloes, well, F2A1 Buffaloes were just nose mount guns. Maybe it was a field modification. I'm not sure. But Thatcher's F2A1 Buffaloes in the game purely because of John Thach, who invented the Thach weave. Which, if you're not certain on what the Thach weave is, I'll leave a link to a Wikipedia page on it. I would explain it, but we're going to be here a while, so probably not. So that's really why Thatcher's Buffalo is in here. And obviously, he flew Buffaloes, I believe he flew Wildcats, and possibly even Hellcats. I'm not really certain. I've never really known anything about the bloke, but he was a good pilot. Let's just say that. And well, he shot down a lot of zeros using the Thach weave. It was a very effective tactic against them. So let's go over his plane briefly. Obviously, it is exactly the same as the one in the tree. So if you're looking for differences in terms of performance, yeah, there is none. So you've got a Wright Cyclone R1820 34 cylinder, or 9 cylinder radial. I nearly said 34 cylinder. I don't think there's ever been a plane engine that is a 34 cylinder, but that'd be interesting. You get 830 horsepower on normal and 931 horsepower on takeoff. It's not bad at all. It could be better, but it could be worse, so to speak. It's a good engine. It gets the thing propelled along nicely. It is very vulnerable to damage, though, that engine is. As with most radials, for some reason. I mean, the Corsair and the P-47 were sort of famed for losing cylinders and getting back to base, and yet in War Thunder, a stiff breeze would knock your radial out. Obviously, no armor on the aircraft. You do not want to take hits in this thing if you can avoid it. And, well, that's obviously where the Eagle decal came from. This is the first plane I put it on, and then obviously the P-shooters afterwards. So obviously the 2 extra wing guns do add some increased firepower, but also a dramatic BR increase. This thing used to be battle rated 1.3, and at one point it was still battle rated 1.3, even with these 250 cal guns. As you can imagine, this thing clubbed like a boss. And you had a lot of troll squadrons who would literally go in pairs and even 4 Thatcher's F2A-1 Buffaloes, and obviously normal Buffaloes as well. And they would literally just club the hell out of anything they saw. But now, though, I think 2.3 is a bit excessive. There is a lot of planes that can match the F2A1, and even outdo the F2A-1. I mean, the F2A-1 does have to fight zeros, which, to be fair, I believe it did. But the F2A-1 is, well, it's got no hope against a zero. Your only hope against the zeros if you've got an altitude advantage or he goes head on with you. And even then, zero pilots never go head on unless they're stupid. But before I continue any further, do I recommend getting the F2A-1 Thachers? Not anymore. I don't want to say this is a bad aircraft because it bloody isn't. I've had a lot of fun with it. It's just the reason why I've had a lot of fun is because I have to fight aircraft that this thing shouldn't fight, but I still kick their asses. But obviously, a lot of people are going to be coming into US Rank 1, probably going to want a premium just to help them start out. Or if they're obviously joining the game first and you was back in like 2017, you would have gotten this thing first. Nowadays, though, that has been replaced by Gala's F3F, which, if you're coming into the US Tech Tree for the first time, I recommend this better. Alternatively, you could go for, if you don't want Gala's F3F, you could potentially put a talisman on one of the Hawks. Probably not the A-Hawk, I'd say the Sea-Hawk would probably be a better bet. The SB-23, the SBD, or even the TBD Devastator. These aircraft, in my opinion, would serve better. If you do need a rank 2 aircraft for a talisman, though, the Ki-43 Hayabusa Premium would be a pretty good start. Or the Ki-61. Fair enough, it's not the best plane, and obviously it's at 3.3 for some reason. But B-34, P-40 Warhawks, P-39s are pretty good options as well, so are the P-38s. Those are my recommendations, though. I do not recommend buying the F2A-1 anymore, or Thach's F2A-1 Buffalo. It's not bad, but even so. So let's get into the battle, and let's see what actually went off. Now, before we begin, this is a 3.3 game, and it is a 28-minute battle. But don't worry, I will cut bits out. Well, I'll skip parts, more like. So, straight away in this battle, I knew it was potentially going to be a defeat. We had a guy with a fail squad, and he brought a gladiator. He brought Gladiator Mark 2, but to be fair though, this guy did really well. I'm not going to knock him. So this is a battle rating 3.3 game, as I mentioned. The enemy does have a single BV-238. Oh boy. Obviously, everyone knows my opinion about BV. I don't think it should be 3.3, and I don't even think a Thatcher should fight it, personally. Now there's quite a bit to chat, so I'm going to leave that on and all that. Someone says who brought the infant, which is obviously referring to the gladiator. But this BV, we're going to be seeing him later. There's your in. So I'm just going to skip ahead the battle a bit. I was actually trying to work out where the airspeed indicator is. But we was just on about a load of planes that were crap. Obviously the Wellington's one of them. Gladiator shouldn't even be in this game. And I mentioned about me shooting down Jane Prawn 3's ME-162, or HE-162 I should say, with my DB3, which I still need to do a review on at some point. I will get around to doing that, but I promised DTT and Dave Schilling that I would do a review on Thach's Buffalo. And well lads, as much as I love this old girl, she just isn't the same anymore. She should not be fighting Ki-61s, even a D5 Stuka or a BV-238. She should not be fighting them. They should strip the 250 cal guns out, slap her back to 1.3 or 1.7, and job done. That's how I see it. And well, I'd be all over this thing and do a re-review just like that. So straight away, I obviously got the air kill on the Ki-61, and there goes my second on the A7HE1. The Kaya 61 was actually a 2.7 variant, which, to be fair, the Thatcher's Buffalo could take on no problem. But that was a A7HE1, which is 2.3. So back in the olden days, you would have thought this thing with the single 30 and the single 50, which this thing could do. This thing could take on an A7HE, which is also known as the Hangar 112B0. It could take it on no problem. At this point, however, I spotted zero. And CCO711 has been talking a lot in chat, and obviously he's quite an experienced pilot. And I knew immediately the Thatcher's Buffalo was no chance against the Zero. Here, especially in Mod 11. He starts following me down for some reason, I don't know why. I'm obviously dropping my nose to try to outrun him, which the Thatcher's Buffalo can do that, but even so, the P400 there starts pumping shots into the D-Stuka, but he doesn't get the kill. I don't know why. And well, we're just going to obviously do an aggressive turn to avoid this Kaya 61. Obviously I'm looking behind him to see where he is, and he ends up turning right into me. I don't know why, this Kaya 61 pilot was not that smart. He gives me a shot here, I take it, but I don't do that much damage. But having the extra 250 cal wing guns does make a difference to the plane, but I held my fire there because I didn't want to hit the I-180S. If you don't know, well, if you want to know what ammunition I'm using stealth in the 30 cal. However, I've changed that now to universal, and I'm also using universal in the 50 cals, which work really well. So, what I forgot to point out there was that the Gladiator actually got rammed by the Zero. But as you can see, he only lost a wheel doing it. Does the Gladiator care? No, it freaking don't. I knew the Gladiator was a good biplane, but in a 3.3 game, and you ram a Zero, and you only lose a wheel, that's a pretty good result in my opinion. So obviously now we're trying to work out where the BV238 is, and obviously he's just dropped on our third and final base. Well, he's about to, I believe. And yeah, I mean, a BV is alright at 3.3. I think it's perfectly balanced, sort of. I mean, to be fair, at 2.3 there are some planes that would never be able to deal with a BV238. But either way, I don't think the BV should be at 3.3. I think it should be at 3.7 personally. Because technically speaking, when it was being armed and all that in real life, it got strafed by Mustangs. Although there is conflicting reports saying that Typhoons did it, but I'm not going to get to that argument. I personally think it was Mustangs. So now this BV is obviously heading towards our airfield. I am going for some ground targets for this I-180S. Feel my potatoes a nice pilot. If you meet him in a game, do send him here. I didn't ask him and all that. But if you know him, do send him my way, because he's a nice guy. I will give him that. So my shooting's a bit crap here. I will fully admit to that. I mean, it's not the worst strafing run I've done on a convoy, but it's certainly not one of the best. It's because I was aiming how I originally would with a nose 50 and a nose 30, not with the extra wing gun. I tried to use the 50 cals there to clean up that truck, but to be fair, 30 cals aren't the best, especially when you've only got one of them. So now it's a 2-horse race between me and this I-180S to get the final vehicle, and that's the end of that. I think that is my last ground kill. But now I'm going to put it to 16 times speed, and there's a reason for that. However, before I do so, this I thought was amazing. I have never seen this before. But this brave sucker in his Gladiator Mark II, if he's a low level, he's level 9, but I have to give you props for this. And yes, that was a pun, because obviously it's a propeller plane. And he's climbing up for the BV-238 in his Gladiator Mark II. This guy has literal balls of steel. The BV pilot's probably thinking at this point, what the fuck is a Gladiator doing on my arse? I'm not bothered about that. Fuel My Potato is starting to come in and all that. And well, I Hate UBRs is actually going to catch up to this BV-238 crit him, which I thought was even better. Now, I don't know what's happening here, but the Gladiator was actually scoring hits on the BV-238. But I just thought this was amazing. I've never seen such a brave pilot, especially in a biplane as well. Oh, so here comes Fuel My Potato. He's coming straight up for the BV. He shoots the fuselage, which is just stupid. You never shoot the fuselage with a BV. It's like a 3-story hotel in here. But if you're going to take out a BV-238, go for the wings. I'll show you that later. But I just thought, witnessing that, watching this F2A or this Gladiator Mark II intercept this giant, and he's actually catching up to it. You can see here, 173 miles an hour, 213, nearly 220. This guy's catching up. And well, the Air 1 ADS pilot is going to screw it up. And obviously he does have the summer camouflage, which I'm guessing he bought it. But the BV is going to lay waste to Fuel My Potato in a few moments. But I just thought this was amazing. You can see the Gladiator's opening up on this guy, which... oh my god, this is amazing to witness. I'm just... and there goes Fuel My Potato, the BV-238. Obviously there's no trace fire for some reason in the replay. But he takes out Fuel My Potato in his Air 1 ADS. But just witnessing this, I mean, if I was that BV, I wouldn't even fire at this guy. I'd want to see if this Gladiator could down me. But you can see here, obviously on the replay it'll be showing as severe damage, but he's actually crit the BV-238's wing in his little Gladiator. I have no words for this. However, sadly, the Gladiator takes a big hit from the BV-238's tail gunners. He's gotten crit, he's running out of fuel, he's out of ammunition, and sadly, this Gladiator is not going to make it home. Well, K-Orange Dragon nearly did, but he is going to crash before he gets to the runway. But if I was this BV pilot, I wouldn't have even shot the Gladiator, I'd have just laughed. So at this point, obviously, I'm making my way back to the airfield to get a rearm, refuel, just so I can get prepared to, intercept this giant. And as I said in the first bit, this plane has changed. And well, I don't think it should be 2.3, because you have to fight this big bastard. So now at this point, obviously, I wanted to drop some altitude, because if I dive from a high altitude, I will rip my wings off before I intercept the BV. And I take a daredevil move. Do I advise against doing this to BV pilots? Never. I just got severely lucky, is all I will say. So obviously I red boxed him now, I'm getting closer, and I'm thinking, stay on target, stay on target. I crit the wing and I take it off. He takes up my engine with the nose guns. Luckily doesn't set it on fire. But that's the end of it. Game over. As the BV smacks into the ground. I lost my engine there, but to be honest, it was totally worth it. And now the Thatcher's Buffalo has to become a glorified glider just to make sure I don't crash, but she's got a good glide performance, so I was perfectly safe. So as I mentioned, I don't think you should buy this bird anymore. She's too much of a challenge for new pilots, which is why they introduced the F3F, Gala's F3F, which I believe is actually still in a museum, if I remember rightly. But yeah, don't buy this plane anymore. Put a talisman on anything I said in the beginning. As much as I love old Thatchers, I don't think she's worth people buying it if you're inexperienced. If you're experienced, yeah, I'd say buy her. She'll be a nice little plane to work with. She'll help you out in some ways of grinding. I mean, I got about 7k towards the AM1 Mauler using this thing, which I will be doing a first flight on at some point once I unlock it, because I've still got quite a few premium planes to get through. And I still need to finish Thatcher's F2A-1 Buffalo. I'll do that today. And then I'll move on to Gala's F3F. But before I do any of those, though, I'm going to finish TB3. I want to get the TB3 out for a review. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's review on the Thatcher's F2A-1 Buffalo. Obviously, I still have questionable experiences about this plane. I mean, it should not be fighting BV-238s. Simple fact. And yes, the Finnish use these things really well in real life, but that doesn't translate to in-game. Not all pilots are Finnish, and they're not legends like they are. Anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed today's review on Thatcher's F2A-1 Buffalo, and I will catch you all on the next one.